Hey guys, so I'm probably famous on YouTube for having extremely small shoulders, or at least I used to have extremely small shoulders, and that usually comes from having a very, very small clavicle. When you have a small clavicle, it's very hard to have a wider frame, right? Somebody else has a long clavicle, it's easier for them to have a wider frame. But some people were like, "Oh, I got crappy genetics, so I'm just gonna give up on improving my body," and other people are like, "You know what? Yeah, I got crappy genetics, but I'm still gonna look amazing. This is what I used to look like, and I've progressively gotten better over the years." So I'm gonna be sharing with you the top 3 exercises that help me get bigger, broader shoulders. All right, so on to the video. Okay, so the shoulder consists of 3 heads: the front deltoid, lateral deltoid, and posterior deltoid, right? So the front one is responsible for that front movement, side one is responsible for that side movement, and guess what? The back one is responsible for that back movement. Pretty simple, right? So I'm gonna be giving you the best exercise for each one. Now, the king of all shoulder exercises is the overhead press. The overhead press is a compound movement, meaning multi-joint movement. Compound movements give the body the most growth. So this is one exercise you can do to build your shoulders up fast, and it hits all 3 heads of your shoulder, but about 70% of it is the front deltoid. That's why I don't really believe in doing front raises, because overhead presses, bench presses, and many other things help hit the front deltoid. Now, I like the seated barbell overhead press because you can go really heavy, break down a lot of muscle fibers, right? But there's also another variation of this exercise, the dumbbell overhead press, standing. Now, when you're standing, you bring your core into it, you bring your stabilizer muscles, so you get the benefits of that, and you get a better range of motion with the dumbbells. You really have to control the weight. So you can try both. I'm never gonna say only one type. Next, we have the cable lateral raise with the cable behind you. Now, this is extremely effective for building up shoulders, and it's much better than using dumbbells. You see, when you use dumbbells, when you come to the top, yeah, there's tension on the shoulder, but when you come down, there's no more tension on the shoulder. But if you use a cable, on the way down, there's pressure too from the cable, right? So even at the bottom when you're resting, there's still pressure on your shoulders. So your shoulders are going to get much more stimulus, and they're going to want to grow even more. Well, they're a muscle. They don't really have desires, but they're definitely going to grow more because there's more time under tension. Next is the rear delt row. Now, I discovered this by accident. I'm not saying I'm the first one to ever figure this out, but I started noticing my rear delts were getting huge and my back wasn't growing, and I didn't realize why when I was a beginner, And I realized it's the way I was rowing. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, why do I have to work the back part of my shoulder? Nobody sees it. But that's 1/3 of your shoulder, and you're going to be missing out on a lot of shoulder mass if you're not working out the rear delts. Now, reverse flies are good, and you should still do reverse flies, but rear delt rows are a compound movement. They're going to help you grow so much more. So what's the difference between a rear delt row and a regular row? On the rear delt row, I'm going outside, right? Trying to squeeze my upper back, my rear delt, right? The back part of my shoulder. While on a back row, I'm bringing the dumbbell to my hip, right? When I bring it to my hip, I really squeeze my back. That's the difference. See, that's a rear delt row right there. While shortly after, you see me do a back row. You see how I came to my hip and I squeezed my back? That's the difference. See, coming to my hip and squeezing my back, while on a rear delt where I go outside like that, really hitting that rear delt. All right, that's what's going to help put on mass. By the way, I had to get into a very awkward position to film this. All right, so overhead press, lateral raise, rear delt rows, those are the top 3 exercises for big shoulders. I hope that helps, and I'll see you guys next Thursday.